How we doing, guys? It's Richie, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. And as an embarrassed Yankees fan, I got to call out some of the ugly actions which occurred in the Yankees outfield after yesterday's walk-off victory over the Cleveland Guardians, Yankees winning 5-4. It kind of brewed on the potential final out of the game. Isaiah kind of Falefa hit a bullet towards Stephen Kwan. Kwan ran into the wall, was disoriented for a moment. Yankees tied the game 4-4. When he was being tended to by medical staff of the Guardians, according to his teammate Miles Straw, a lot of fans were heckling him. And I could understand the frustration from Straw's part because, you want to stand up for your teammate, and it's unacceptable to make fun of someone when they're injured. Straw proceeded to scale the wall and kind of get into it with a few Yankee fans. Now, next guy to come up was Gleyber Torres. He got a game-winning single. Yankees won the walk-off. Straw continued to go at it with Yankee fans. And honestly, by the time Torres was rounding second, there was a lot of debris thrown into right center, a lot of beers, a lot of beer cans. They even hit an umpire. It actually took Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge to get out to the outfield to kind of tell the fans to chill out. And I do believe that there's a negative recourse that could come with this because, I don't really know what would ever, propel me to want to throw something at a professional athlete at a sporting event. Because number one, you get arrested. Number two, you could probably get banned from the stadium for life. I just don't understand how any of it could be positive. And sometimes I wonder from a psychological level if some of these fans sometimes think they're part of the game. Social media, Twitter brings a lot of average Joes closer to athletes and celebrities. And certainly not the way I would want to make my 15 minutes of fame. But as far as the recourse from MLB, I would have to think that these are lifetime bans for some of those because they have cameras everywhere. More so than that, I'm curious to see if they're going to consider putting up some kind of plexiglass to kind of separate the fans from the players. And that would suck for a lot of fans that go to the ball game for the right reasons, because one of the cool things about sitting in the outfield is, in between innings, sometimes if you get a player's attention, they'll have a catch with you. They'll throw the ball to you. Just talking, just having a good time and enjoying the game within limits. Miles Straw after the game basically said that they were the worst fans in Major League Baseball, speaking of Yankee fans. And, he also made it very clear that it's not about being intense and rooting that your team won. It's more about the lack of class and just everything that came with that. No place for that in any sporting event. There have been more incidents over the course of the last few years in NBA games. I mean, I remember hearing Trae Young getting spit on during last year's playoffs, which is completely unacceptable. But if this is the way that certain fans are going to be, there's going to be some negative recourse, and it's going to affect good fans that want to go to the game and enjoy themselves the right way. But definitely an embarrassing moment for the New York Yankees yesterday. And more so, it just, like I said, it could change things moving forward. And we'll see how that goes. It took away from a great performance from Nestor Cortez, a good feel-good win in a game that looked like the Yankees allowed to get away. They were able to win the game, but this is the only thing people are going to be talking about. The Yankees will be going for the sweep today against the Cleveland Guardians. That game starts in about a half hour or so, but just really negative shit that you just don't want to see. Keeping it in New York, the Brooklyn Nets are on the verge of being swept. And while they've nursed a lot of injuries this year and player absences, for instance, Kyrie making a personal decision to not get the vaccine. Up until recently, that policy was not waived, that if you were not vaccinated, you could play. Durant missed a decent amount of time, which is part of the reason why the Nets were such a low seed this season. When Boston Celtics, after stealing game one on a perfect sequence of a defensive help play from Al Horford and obviously the game winner to Tatum, it just seems that it really just seems that the Brooklyn Nets have almost checked out. Coach Steve Nash went as far as saying that the players are exhausted. But he specified Durant and Irving, which I don't necessarily think is the right message to send to your other ball players. I would like to think that everybody's got to be somewhat fatigued. But on a bigger note, moving forward, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant on the individual level are two of the best players in the NBA. And for them to potentially walk away without getting a win in the playoffs, to say it's disappointing would be an understatement. And I do believe that Brooklyn might have to go back to the drawing board and kind of reevaluate if that dynamic duo is worth keeping together moving forward. It's unacceptable when you have two of the best players in the world and you can't win a playoff game. And, give all the credit to the Celtics. They're doing a great job. But, with Kyrie's history of a lot of people feeling that he's best suited to basically be the main star and not really the best at sharing, so to speak, I do believe it's interesting. It's also been brought again to the attention by head coach Steve Nash of the media that Irving has been fasting and he's been taking a beating, fasting for Ramadan, his religious beliefs, which is a huge sacrifice. He was able to get them into the play-in game, scoring 30 plus, winning the play-in game. And it was brought to the media's attention that he had been fasting, and it was remarkable that he had that kind of performance. But it just doesn't look good. Kyrie and LeBron ultimately had to part ways. They weren't able to get along, play together. And it seems like with Kyrie, there was always some added drama. We all know about the middle finger after game one in Boston. A lot of controversy surrounding this team. And in New York, especially in New York, I do feel that the pressure is even higher and the spotlight is even bigger on the dynamic of how the players are getting along and the fact that they're not getting the results given the roster. Today, my winners for today's NBA playoff games, I've got the Chicago Bulls squaring up the series with the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks. That'll be at 2-2. I got the Warriors sweeping out of the first round and waiting on their next opponent. And I've got the Atlanta Hawks also tying things with the Miami Heat. Moving forward in this round, though, I do believe that the Bulls and Hawks will ultimately lose to the teams they're playing, which are the Hawks are playing the Heat, Bulls are playing and defending champion Milwaukee Bucks. That's really all I got for now, but on a final thought, I am actually concerned about what went down in the Yankee game for the sheer fact that I think things could change, and that would really kill the in-game experience for a lot of fans. And it's embarrassing. And while I don't believe that those people represent the core of Yankee fans, the majority of Yankee fans, it's incredibly embarrassing for the organization, the fan base, and even the players. And, with the right, or I should say the poor incident, this could go in a direction where more measures are going to be taken, which essentially eliminates interactions with players and fans alike. And I don't think that's what's best for the game. But at the same time, first and foremost, you have to worry about player safety. And what happened yesterday should never happen. I'm out. Have a good day, guys.